You got to stay on top of that. But you're not really. I mean, I can't even begin to frame a future set at this juncture. But for somebody who thinks in terms of hour-long presentations, have you begun to think about that?
No, not really. I do the last 4 years before, so from 2016 to 2019, I did an end-of-year review show, just sort of my main stand-up of the year, when I'd try and put the event, the world of that year into an hour of stand-up. But I didn't do that this year, and so it's been a long time since I really sat down and tried to plan out a stand-up show. And I was thinking about it a couple of weeks ago, because I realised that basically I'd done 4 gigs in 2020, and they were all in January.
Right.
And I thought, well, what would I do if I had to do a gig now? What would I? And I couldn't remember, how I used to start a stand-up set, or
Sure.
I couldn't remember. I mean, I've got them all written down, but because I write stuff every week for the Bugle, and most of the stuff, as you say, that I do is topical, whether it's for the Bugle or radio shows. I'm constantly churning over material, but not necessarily sort of honing it into lasting stand-up. And I got a slight panic that I thought I've got no idea how I would do a stand-up gig now. And having been doing it for over 20 years, that was slightly frightening. It's not I do podcasts and radio and cricket, so stand-up is not what I rely on. But as a comedian,
but you always got that muscle working.
Yes,
I was doing 3 sets, 4 sets a week, no matter what, just to stay frosty. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's definitely going to be, does pre-COVID material matter anymore? And we don't know what post-COVID's going to look like, but we all know what the fuck we're living with. And the one thing about it is there is a certain, this is one of the few times in history where we all have something very specific and very fucking prominent in common. There, we can all talk about how we handled this, how much cooking we did, how much eating we did, how much jerking off we did, how much yelling at our kids we did. I mean, there are going to be diaries of COVID, but I sadly, from day to day, I would imagine the patterns reveal itself, and it's one long day,
Yes. And also doing sort of political, topical comedy, a lot of what I've done in the last 4 years has been about Brexit and its impact on British politics, and globally on Trump and America, and what Trumpism stands for around the world. And those two things are going as well. So so what I've no idea what I would if someone said, you got to do an hour-long stand-up show in a month's time, I think I would really struggle, I think, to know what to do. And I guess a genuine deadline is always a great motivator, Mark. So
sure.
I guess I'll have to wait until that does.
Yeah, I think we'll snap into shape pretty good. I mean, one thing I've been noticing about Trumpism and fascism in general is that people who can't leave their houses or are unemployed are generally going to fuel that movement. That there's economic desperation, and there's a lack of work and a lot of time to go down whatever rabbit hole your brain is going to go down to make your anger feel better. And sadly, a lot of times that ends with excluding people and possibly genocide. So.
And also, the internet there are infinite rabbit holes on the internet. And,
the worst. You can find your people.
You can, or in my case, you can find black and white early footage of sport from the 1920s. But there's rabbit holes for everyone. There's a universe of rabbit holes.
Yes,
and
we're finding that.
Yes,
we're finding that. It's nobody needs to have the same experience ever again. Well, I guess we'll find out, Andy. I think that if we do get a reprieve and we do get the ability to once again enter the world, that we will be so excited, we will find plenty of things to say.
Right. And will you come back to Edinburgh? The emotional Marc Maron return to Edinburgh.
I will not.
If there's one good to come out of COVID, Mark, surely it can be that.
Maybe.
Come back to the Fringe.
I will come back
damp room.
No, I can't. I will come back to London. I will never go to the Gilded Balloon again. I just have no idea about that world. But I did have I did do a couple of dates in London over the last few years, in Birmingham and what else? Where else did I go? I did 3 dates, but I had a nice time. Manchester, I think.
Yeah.
In London, Birmingham, Manchester. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. I remember speaking to you that year in Edinburgh, because I was doing my political animal show that you did in a room in sort of an old kind of underground passageways.
Right, it was a long, thin, narrow room with bricks, a lot of bricks.
And it was a kind of classic Edinburgh room, that it was completely not designed for stand-up, but it had a certain atmosphere.
I think it was damp.
Very damp. Yeah, the humidity in that room was... it's the kind of room you felt that someone probably died in it about 200 years ago.
Or there was butchering done in it. Yeah. There was real work on anvils or with knives.
Yes. Those walls would have stories to tell. But was, I can't. What year was that?
Must have been 2006, maybe.
Yeah. So that was the year that John went to do the Daily Show. So I think I was. Then again, we were supposed to be co-hosting that show.
Oh, we were both shattered then. We were both struggling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will say this. Maybe I will come and we'll hang out in Edinburgh again. If not, let's hang out next time I come to London, if that's ever possible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
Good talking to you, man.
You too.
Okay, that's it. Andy Zaltzman, as I said earlier, he's got the podcast, The Bugle, where you can get wherever you get podcasts. You can hear him on the news quiz on BBC Radio 4. Enjoy the relief while we can, and I'll try to muster up a little hope. I've been meditating, and I've been yogaing, and I've been working out, and I've been trying to keep my sanity. I've been hiking up COVID Hill. But relief and, hope. Hope that we stabilize this fucking thing, and hope that we get everybody vaccinated and some structure and organization begins to occur on a federal level. And also that, I'd like to be proud of my country again. I really would. I'll play some guitar for you now. Monkey, LaFonda, cat angels everywhere. Thank God for new management.